Welcome all the parents. Next. SNCC is Special Needs Integration Center. We are based in Nagpur. Basically, our motto is to provide a conducive environment for children with special needs so as to facilitate their development, education, and develop their potential to the fullest, so they can be independent enough. For that, we are going to introduce these projects, which are everything under one roof. Right now, our mission is to educate parents to develop their perspective toward the right kind of interventions and treatments, so that parents will not go wrong with their perspective, and they'll get the right perspective towards the treatment. So for that, today we have well-known pediatric occupational therapist, Dr. Sumit Shinde from CRC. He'll guide us for the ADHD series. Over to you, sir.
Good evening again, everyone. So today we are, it'll be beneficial if everybody mute self, and yeah, please mute yourself so that it'll be more easier for me to convey. Yes. So good evening, everyone. Today we are meeting in ADHD series with respect to a very important important nomenclature or important criteria or important behavior or important challenge in our day-to-day parenting, or in the parenting journey of ours. These are the two things which makes us away from the society, which keeps us away from going into the society, and becomes very challenging. Sometimes we also lose our patience and a number of things. Everything happens negatively when we talk about these two words. One is a tantrum and second is a meltdown. So today we are going to discuss, we are going to disclose, we are going to discover, and we are going to understand more about tantrums and meltdown. And before I move ahead, my request to everyone, please check out your screen and please mute yourself so that it will be easier for me. We all are adults. I hope you understood what I'm trying to say over here. So ultimately, I had to do this. I had to mute everyone. Now, thanks host for doing this. So today we are going to discuss about something which is more challenging in front of us, something which creates an obstacle in between us and our child's bonding, something which is challenging for, or which puts us away or takes us away from the social life of ours. And because of these two things, we are not able to take our kids outside, or we are not able to take our kids in the restaurant, in the cinema hall, or in the public places, in the public venues or public ceremonies. These are the two things which every parent with be it ADHD, be it autism, or be it any developmental disability, parents are a bit more skeptical how my child will behave today. So thank you, SNCC, for bringing this topic today, because this is something is not about training you people, but this is something, a topic which we are going to discuss it about amongst each other, and I'm going to I'll try my best to keep it as a discussion, but because of the time factor, and we are already running a bit slow because of the network issues, so I'll try my best to convey as much as possible to you all. Before I move ahead, Sushant, can you please stop the screen sharing? Something is happening which is anybody
yes,
can.
Yes, I'll do.
Yes. Right. So welcome everyone for this discussion. I will not take it as I will not call it as a webinar, but this is more of a discussion. So tantrums, I would like to ask somebody, any one person can say how they are difficult for your day-to-day behaviors. And there are few parents whom I am treating also. There are very many new people over here. So anyone can unmute yourself and just tell your challenge. One or two people we can hear this from. Nobody has any challenges with respect to tantrums? Still, anyone who wants to share their experiences with respect to tantrum, with respect to the behavior. I will not call it behavior. Behavior is something different, but tantrum in terms of public places. What your child is doing, but not chat. It's okay. You're putting it on. Nobody can unmute. Oh, okay, fine. You can unmute everyone, and yes, Mrs. Madhura can speak.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes. One person. Yeah,
Sometimes what she done whenever my child is not getting anything, so that time she shows tantrum. Means sometimes before she started screaming, before some age,
if she doesn't get what she wants, then she throws tantrums. She gets angry, starts throwing. Understood. Any next parent, please.
Now she understand that after screaming I am not getting anything. So
Right.
she bothers everyone who is having with her. So she can get from any other person. So she try to call that person also on the
Right.
phone,
So she
phone
tries
that
her
I want
best.
these things.
So she tries her best to get her things done.
हाँ.
तो वो मम्मी हो, पापा हो, दादी हो, दादा हो, शायद बाजू वाला अंकल हो, या रास्ते वाला कोई भी पर्सन हो जो उसको उसकी गाड़ी दिला दे, या कोई भी उसको जो भी चाहिए वो दिला दे, and then unless and until she doesn't get, she will do it. Yes, Tanya Jain. I'm here.
Yeah, hi,
Dr.
sir.
Sumit.
I would like
Tanya
to tell
Jain,
about
yes.
my daughter.
Yes.
What tantrum she throws is actually whatever in the initial thing, whatever she is going to do, initially she'll cry. She'll cry for it. Whether it be an academic thing, whether it be any new task, any puzzle, any exercise. So, crying is there.
Yes.
That is the major hindrance and the obstacle in her learning. That in her development also, that she always cry. मतलब वो
Right.
crying से ही शुरू होगा, बाद में by hook or crook वो कर लेगी.
I understood what you wanted to say. So here what a parent gave a perspective that child has learned a kind of a behavior. It's a learned, okay? एक ऐसा उन्होंने एक weapon create किया है कि कुछ भी चीज ना करनी हो या कोई भी चीज चाहिए तो वो बच्चा वैसे ही behavior दिखाएगा, so that outer environment get annoyed, and then somehow that environment will fulfill their demand, whether to stop the activity or whether as per their needs they are asking something. Thank you, madam. Yes.
Doctor.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, doctor. This is Brian here.
Yep.
I'm a parent of two kids on the spectrum. My daughter is 11, and my son is 11. My daughter is 13.
Okay.
Now they are overall, their performance, individual wise, they are quite independent, etc. But
great.
what happens is their meltdown sometimes, is interrelated.
Okay.
Connected to each
one
other.
Starts and other joins the party, right?
Not exactly that, doctor. See, we have been training our daughter in such a way to do everything in a perfect way at the right time. Okay. But then my son has got his own pace, he takes his own time to execute and follow instructions. So what happens is that when the instructions is given.
Try to cut short it. What is the last sentence you want to speak? Because we have a less time.
Sorry, doctor. So what happens is, because my son is not performing faster, my daughter gets into a meltdown. That why is he not doing it? So it is connected. There's a reason, yeah.
Okay, right. So understood. Next parent, what challenges you see in the social situations? Mrs. Anita. You can unmute yourself and you can speak, Mrs. Anita. All right, Aniruddha, GOG, Aniruddha. Yes, please speak.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my query is my son is saying no to everything. Whatever
Right.
me and my wife tells him, he says no to everything. Maybe in the home, maybe outside the home, maybe in some function.
Right.
Anywhere we go, if you order him something that Ramakrishna do some this and this thing, then he says no.
Okay.
So
Yes, I understood what you're saying. Yes, you can mute yourself. This is not called as a tantrum. This is called as a ODD, or oppositional defiant disorder. It's a different set of problem. I repeat it. It's an oppositional defiant disorder, जिसको हम लोग tantrum नहीं कह सकते, लेकिन बच्चा कुछ भी चीज, बेटा खाना खाएगा नहीं, अच्छा बेटा हम लोग खेलेंगे नहीं, अच्छा तुम बैटिंग करोगे नहीं, ओके, तो एनीथिंग वी आस्क हिम, प्लीज गेट मी वाटर, नहीं, तुम पानी पियोगे नहीं, अच्छा हम लोग घोड़ा खेलेंगे नहीं, तो एनीथिंग यू टॉक टू द चाइल्ड विल से नो टू मोस्ट ऑफ योर क्वेरीज. सो समथिंग लाइक दिस कॉल्ड दिस इज नॉट अ tantrum, this is a oppositional defiant disorder. It's called a disorder because the child has developed a kind of habits, and a set of habits are there with it. So yes, so this is not a tantrum, but we can discuss it later on. You can connect me later on. I'll guide you in depth about it later on. Yes, next parent. Agraj
Hello,
Kulkar.
sir.
Agraj
Hello.
Kulkar. Yes, madam.
Actually, my son is 5.9 years old. उसको कुछ छोटे से चीज के लिए वो बहुत ऐसे बिहेवियर दिखाता है. सपोज जैसे कुछ स्वीट बॉक्स, रबर, ईयरबड उसको चाहिए तो बार बार दिन में पूछता है. जब हम नहीं देते हैं तो हेड बैंगिंग स्टार्ट कर देता है.
हाँ, तो this is a typical tantrum where if the need is not fulfilled, the need can be a very small thing, या शायद maybe the child is fixated to something, and अगर हम लोग उसको वो नहीं देते हैं, then the child starts showing a kind of a behavior which is intolerable or aggressive, or lots of emotional disturbances the child will show. Yes,
Yeah.
This is a typical tantrum. We will discuss about it. Agraj Kulkarni, you wanted to speak something. This is the last point
Yeah.
I'm going to say, and we will move ahead.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, Mrs. Kulkarni.
Yeah, hi sir. Yeah,
Yes,
so like tantrums, like we have a device at home, Alexa, where he's asking to play some specific songs. So usually what he's doing is, like when he is not able to tell to Alexa device, then he is asking us to play that song.
Right.
So he has made a pattern, like, okay, one of the typical song only has to be requested by his me, or one of the other songs has to be requested by his mother.
Right.
If we are just taking a turn, like, okay, now my turn to play that song, so he's not allowing that. He's specifically
Right.
wanting his mother to tell that thing. And also whenever any new person is coming, then it may be a part of initiating a social communication, but he is continuously bugging that person, like, hey uncle, hey auntie, like they answer first initially, but
and later on he will keep annoying.
Yeah, he's keep on repeating those things continuously.
Right. Now this particular behavior is not a tantrum. This is called a fixation. First of all, the basic symptom is a fixation. The reason is a fixation, and if the fixation is not fulfilled, then it is converting into tantrum. So this is a very brief answer to your question. So let's understand. Let's unreveal what are the tantrums and meltdowns. I'm not talking more about day-to-day behaviors, because tantrums are very special. Meltdowns are very special. So let's begin with the today's more of a discussion come webinar, tantrums and meltdowns. We will take the next questions at the end of the session. Yes, thank you, madam. So everybody can mute yourself. Let's begin with the session. Tantrum is, or temper tantrum is an emotional outburst. Child becomes very much emotional. I want chocolate. Chocolate is a very small thing. I wanted the chocolate. So for chocolate, I should communicate. And if the chocolate I don't get, I should become sad, or I should become unsatisfied. But that unsatisfaction becomes an emotional outburst. Okay, emotional outburst means usually associated with those in emotional distress, or maybe this can be a generalized definition, but if we talk about a child, so it is an emotional outburst that is typically characterized by the stubbornness. Child will not take any other thing. He will not allow you to divert that particular thing, and he will be very much sure that he wants it. I will call it a demanding behavior, but beyond the demanding, the child goes into a tantrum where child starts doing certain behaviors which are not characteristic to his need, but characteristic to his emotional outbursts. So the child will start showing stubbornness, crying spells, screaming, violence. He will start throwing things here and there. Defiance is the one of the thing that you ask him to do something and he will not do anything. Okay, you want a chocolate, but at least please sit on a chair. But he will not be ready to sit on a chair. You tell him that okay, you want a TV, but at least let me get the remote control. Let me search for it. The child will not allow you to search for that also, and child will show those emotional outbursts. And then lots of crying, screaming, getting angry, and a resistance to attempt at pacification. वो आप उसको जितना ज्यादा उसको calm down करने की कोशिश करेंगे, उतना ज्यादा वो जानबूझ के resist करेगा, आपको overpower करेगा, and then the child के ये characteristic जब ये दिखाता है, तो उसको हम लोग we will call it as tantrums. Sometimes child goes beyond this level and he starts hitting, he starts pulling hair, he starts scratching, or he starts sometimes hitting self also, but this is called as a tantrum. Tantrum and behaviors, these are two different things. Behavior, let me be sure, everybody please understand, behavior and tantrum, these are different things. Behavior is a response, is a sudden response to the need, whether it is fulfilled or not fulfilled. So a sudden response can be more of an expression based response. But tantrum is something like child is with his mind, body, soul and heart, he's entered into that rebel mode, and that's called as a tantrum. But we will discuss tantrum and meltdown also. But tantrum is child knows what he's doing and he's trying his best to control the environment by his tantrums or by his reactions over there. So difference between common behaviors and tantrums are, common behaviors are the individual responses, okay, like satisfaction, dissatisfaction, when the needs are fulfilled, not fulfilled, okay. Child ने chocolate मांगा, आपने नहीं दिया, तो वो थोड़ा सा एक dissatisfaction behavior दिखाएगा. Child को आपने बोला कि let's start writing, or you do drawing or do something, and child doesn't want to do it and you scold him and then child starts crying. So crying is different, dissatisfaction is different. For different behaviors or for different needs, the child will show different responses, okay. I will call this a behaviors because this is the response. कोई चीज नहीं दिया तो उसका response आया, कोई चीज करने के लिए बोला तो उसका response अलग हो गया, okay. But tantrums are sometimes, if the child is more into the tantrums, the child will show the same kind of a response for any demand or for any particular dissatisfied need. The child may go into that phase again and again, and then we call it as a child is showing the tantrums. Tantrums are the aggravated conditions or conditioned responses set in a person or set in the child, which is the result of inappropriate fulfillment, handling the needs, and development of a recessive character in the parents, authority, or it can be a parent or authority in front of the child's demand, letting the child become more greedy and tolerant towards their own behavior. Now this is a very cluster of things I would like to explain you one by one. Tantrums are aggravated conditional responses, conditioned responses. This is conditioned कि बार-बार वो चीज होने के वजह से वो ऐसा नहीं है कि all of a sudden वो 4 साल का हो गया और उसने all of a sudden उसने tantrum दिखाना शुरू किया. ये पहले से था, ये शुरुआत ये शायद 1 साल में था, 2 साल में था, 3 साल में था, 4 साल में था, लेकिन पहले कम था, लेकिन धीरे धीरे वो कंडीशन होके गया, धीरे धीरे उसकी लर्निंग होती गई कि मुझे ऐसे ही करना है. So tantrums is a developmental changes in the child's behaviors, we can say. So they are aggravated. Aggravated, that means बहुत ही ज्यादा लेवल तक जाता है, अनटॉलरेबल बच्चा हो जाता है सोशल सिचुएशंस में या इस सिचुएशंस में जब वो टैंट्रम दिखाता है। whereas in behaviors child can be understood or we can calm him down, but tantrums में वो थोड़ा सा इशू दिखा सकता है। ओके, रिजल्ट ऑफ इनअप्रोप्रिएट फुलफिलमेंट, ये कभी होता है, ये बिहेवियर्स कंडीशन रिस्पॉन्सेस कभी जब बार बार उसको जो चाहिए वो नहीं दिया जाता है या उसके नीड्स को ठीक से हैंडल नहीं किया जाता है। लास्ट फ्यू मंथ्स we took a wonderful autism parenting webinar series in which we discussed about behaviors and their management. There was a 9 hours continuous discussion we had with the parents, and it was an amazing thing which we disclosed or we discovered behaviors are not like inside, but they are something like the response to their unsatisfied or satisfied needs. ये needs अलग अलग हो सकती हैं, कभी कभी सेंसरी होती है, फिजियोलॉजिकल होती है, सर्वाइवल होती है, मोटिवेशनल इनर मोटिवेशन हो सकती है, इमोशनल हो सकती है, डेवलपमेंटल लर्निंग, सेल्फ डायरेक्शन की हो सकती है कि मुझे किसी की मदद करनी है, सेल्फ ऑटोनॉमी की हो सकती है कि मैं मेरे काम खुद से करूंगा। ऐसे बहुत अलग अलग नीड्स होती है वो बच्चे की, वो कभी कभी फुलफिल ना करने की वजह से और लगातार बार बार ये कभी फुलफिल ना होने की वजह से भी, और कभी कभी वो नीड क्या है यही अभी समझ में नहीं आता है, बिकॉज चाइल्ड इज नॉट स्पीकिंग और चाइल्ड इज नॉट एबल टू कम्युनिकेट प्रॉपर्ली वो, बट अल्टीमेटली वो नीड उसकी फुलफिल ना होने की वजह से एक कंडीशनल रिस्पॉन्स बच्चे में डेवलप होता है। तीसरी बात, एक रेसेसिव कैरेक्टर, जब भी ये बच्चे के सामने एक रेसेसिव कैरेक्टर पेरेंट में देखा जाता है कि पेरेंट बिकम्स अनटॉलरेंट, वो टॉलरेट करना कम कर देता है और पेरेंट वो बच्चे को जो भी चाहिए वो देना शुरू कर देता है, या पेरेंट बिकम्स अ रेसेसिव कैरेक्टर इन फ्रंट ऑफ द चाइल्ड and the child understands कि okay I can overpower this situation, okay, then the further thing, तो वो recessive character parent हो सकता है, teacher हो सकता है, therapist हो सकता है, any kind of environmental person or environment हो सकता है, okay, in front of the child's demands या child के demand के सामने जब ये environment, जब ये authorities fail हो जाती हैं, recessive हो जाती हैं और child उसके सामने dominant हो जाता है, letting the child become more greedy, child खुद के ऊपर उसका भरोसा बढ़ता है कि जब मैं ये दिखाऊंगा तो definitely I'm going to get the thing what I want or what or I'm going to stop thing what they are asking me to do, you know, greedy and tolerant towards their behavior। बच्चा अपने behavior में इतना ज्यादा tolerant होता है कि वो आधे घंटे तक रोता है, लेकिन उसका खुद का एक potential भी बढ़ता है यहाँ पर। So this is something is called as a difference between the tantrum and the behaviors. Behaviors are just responses, but tantrums are conditioned responses, okay, over a period because the needs either not satisfied or not understood, and the parent becomes a recessive character and child becomes a dominant character in that environment. So then this is a very suitable condition for the developing tantrums as a habit in children. So let's understand what exactly tantrum characteristics are. When a child has a tantrum, they will look around. बच्चा जब टैंट्रम में होता है तब वो बाजू बाजू में देखता है कि कौन मुझे रोते हुए देख रहा है और कौन मुझे सिंपथाइज कर रहा है। तो when the child is into tantrum, child will look for the attention. Child will वो हेड बैंग भी करेगा, लेकिन देखेगा कोई मुझे देख रहा है कि नहीं, कोई किसी को मेरे ऊपर सिंपथी आ रही है कि नहीं, ये बच्चा देखेगा जरूर। So the child with a tantrum, okay, वो अकेले में कभी नहीं रहेगा, वो हर वक्त किसी के सामने ही करेगा, या अगर कोई सामने है तो उसी के सामने उसका टैंट्रम एग्रावेट होगा। So when a child has a tantrum, they will look around ever so often to see if their tantrum is getting any attention or a reaction. तो बच्चा रिएक्शन की देखेगा, या शायद अगर कोई डांट रहा है वो भी उसके लिए एक पोषक वातावरण होता है, या शायद अगर कोई कंसोल कर रहा है, उसको सिंपथाइज कर रहा है, तो भी वो उसके लिए एक पोषक वातावरण होता है बच्चे की टैंट्रम बनाने के लिए। अल्टीमेटली what the child is asking for attention. Okay, so that is the basic characteristic feature of the tantrum. Then second point is tantrum showing child typically avoids hurting themselves. This is a very aptly seen in terms of tantrum and meltdowns. Meltdowns are different. I'm going to discuss about in coming few slides. But tantrum में जब बच्चा खुद को hurt करता है तो वो अपने खुद को हर्ट ना होने तक उसको खुद को टॉलरेंट रखता है वहां पर। अगर उसको हर्ट हो रहा है तो वो वहां पर नहीं जाएगा। सो फॉर एग्जांपल अगर वो हेड बैंगिंग कर रहा है तो उसके लिए वो एक सॉफ्ट चीज ढूंढेगा और सॉफ्ट चीज पर जाके अपना हेड बैंग करेगा और वो अपना जो भी रेबेल बिहेवियर है वो दिखाएगा। सो ड्यूरिंग टैंट्रम्स द हेड बैंगिंग इज मोर on soft objects or on the objects where he is not going to get hurt. So child is more conscious in tantrum. Okay, the child will try to manipulate the situation to their benefits. वो अपने benefit करने के लिए किसी भी हद तक जाएगा, बहुत सारा negative behavior दिखाएगा और the moment the next point the tantrums achieve a certain goal and once that goal is achieved, जब वो चीज उसको मिल जाती है बच्चे को, तब वो अपने आप के बिहेवियर में विद इन फ्यू सेकेंड्स आ सकता है। या शायद कुछ बच्चे अगर क्रॉनिक टैंट्रम्स ये दिखा रहे हैं, बहुत ये कर रहे हैं, तो धीरे धीरे वो अपने इसमें आ जाते हैं। बट डेफिनेटली देयर इज अ सैटिस्फैक्शन, देयर इज अ सेंस ऑफ विनिंग over those recessive characters, maybe a parent or maybe for his demands. The child will calm down once his goal is achieved. So these are the characteristic features of tantrum. Going to the meltdown. Now meltdown is a very, very difficult situation. It can be a sudden loss of control. I repeat, it's a sudden loss of control over self with no control over feelings and emotions and complete detachment from the environment and self. So this is something called meltdown. Meltdown में टैंट्रम जैसा नहीं होता है, बच्चे को पता ही नहीं होता है कि आजू बाजू में कोई है या नहीं है, उसको उसके कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। He completely gets detached from his emotions. He loses the control over the self, over the body. The child loses the control with the environment, and then the child goes completely into the meltdown. And neither the outer environment, neither his needs, and neither his inner environment is able to help over there to regulate himself or to control himself from that, or to bring him out of that particular situation. So that is called as a meltdown. I would like to request to Sushant,
Yes.
can we see the video of meltdown? It's a very nice video of a meltdown. How the meltdown happens because of sensory overload. We can see that video. I'm just stopping the share. Yeah, you can do that. Everybody keep your voices at the highest level.
Is it audible?
Not yet. Please start it.
Yes, it was.
Now?
Yes.
Six, 7, 8, 9. Take my hand. No, Alex. It's fine, isn't it? I'm not naughty. I'm
All right. Stop this video, Sushant.
and I
Thank
just
you.
get too much information.
Sorry, this because of maybe the network issues. आप शायद वो पूरा नहीं देख पाए, but what we understood over here, when the child was walking in a mall, his visual inputs were not very much appropriate. He was hearing so many sounds coming from the environment. The child were getting variable visual inputs, variable smell, and all the sensory inputs were coming so much in a louder manner and in a very cluttered manner that a time came out at the same time when the TV started, when the brightness of the TV becomes so much bright that he could not tolerate it. At the end, he lost the overall control and he went into a meltdown. So this is called the meltdown. Okay, and then he tries to stop someone. He doesn't do anything. He just goes into his own reaction to those sensory overloads, and neither he can hear from outside, neither he can see from outside what exactly the environment is trying to console him. He will not understand that. So this is something we can call it as a meltdown. So sudden loss of control over a self with Sushant, you can put that video's link in the post so that after the lecture everybody can see it. Don't be so impulsive so that you'll go there and see it. I don't mind if you want to. Okay. So sudden loss of control over self with no control over feelings and emotions and complete detachment from the environment and self is a meltdown. So बहुत बार meltdown को बहुत ही generalize किया जाता है. My child shows meltdown, but believe me, meltdown is a very difficult condition to handle for the child himself also, and for the surrounding people also. So tantrums and meltdowns, these are very demarcated things. If the child has a tantrum, he may go into the meltdown, but for that the child should be showing lots of sensory processing and modulation issues, which will not allow him to regulate self. So what is meltdown? In a meltdown, the child with autism or child with a developmental disability does not look nor care if anyone is reacting to them. उसको कोई पड़ी नहीं होगी, वो एक thought ही generate नहीं कर पाएगा कि what I am supposed to do. The child is completely detached from the higher functions. I think I have explained you most of you have attended the previous lecture of sensory integration. Parent, please mute yourself. Okay, so in a meltdown situation, the child with a developmental disability will not be having any connect from his higher function. वो ना तो सोच पाएगा, ना तो emotions दिखा पाएगा, but he will be very much scattered रहेगा वो. And this is the next point is they will not consider their own safety and stand at a risk of putting themselves in a danger. Most of the time, the child will hurt himself very badly, will hurt others very badly, or he may not understand anything what is he doing with his own body or with others. So that is meltdown. Meltdown seems to continue as if having their own power and will taper off slowly. Meltdown कब तक कंटिन्यू होंगे? जब तक वो बच्चे के ब्रेन उसको पावर दे रहा है या शायद उसके बॉडी में एक एनर्जी है, वो एनर्जी जब तक कंप्लीटली ड्रेन आउट नहीं होती है तब तक मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम और अनरिजॉल्व्ड मेल्टडाउन कंडीशंस may remain, and then the child will calm down and then he will go to sleep after that. So it's something like the child will or there are certain kids who will go to the very normal and then they will not understand what I did a few moments back. So meltdown seems to be continue as if they're having their own power. तो उसकी खुद की power generation होती है, बहुत ज़्यादा power शायद बच्चा दिखाता है उस short period में, because there is no regulation on one's on self energy. There is no regulation on self sensory inputs and control over the body. So there is a complete loss of overall sensory processing and integration of frame in the brain. And no one feels in the control during the meltdown. Meltdown में कभी भी बच्चा अपने कंट्रोल में नहीं होता है, उसको खुद को नहीं पता होता है कि वो क्या हो रहा है और उसके साथ क्या हो रहा है. It is not a behavior, it is a meltdown. He's not doing it for certain need, but maybe a dissatisfied behavior or a tantrum may lead to a meltdown in the children with lack of self-regulation and with the severe sensory modulation dysfunction. So this is a meltdown for you. So if you say my child is showing tantrum, then it's a habitual behavior where he knows what he's doing. But if you say your child is showing meltdown, it is something the child is completely loss of control over self. Next is who may show meltdown. कौन meltdown दिखा सकता है यहाँ पर? Child with a severe self-regulation issue where I explained you arousal on the optimum arousal I explained in the last lecture with respect to sensory integration. So if the child is not able to keep that arousal in an appropriate level, then the child will not be able to regulate self. The arousal will not help the child to develop an appropriate attainability, and then the lots of sensory overcrowding or thing may happen in a higher arousal state, and the child may go into the meltdown. Poor development of higher functions. If the child is 8 years but he has not developed enough thought process, emotions, he could not develop those higher cognitive functions, then the child is not having any authority inside the brain to regulate its own body and to regulate its own behaviors. Then this particular child will show most of the time the child will show meltdowns. I will say here, I would like to say I'm just moving towards autism because maybe there are many people who are coming from the autism stream also. So the child who's 8 years old, he knows to put a puzzle, he knows to do n number of activities, but the child is mastered in the activities. But if the child has not developed adequate communication, adequate thinking, adequate imagination, adequate reasoning, and adequate receptive communication, then these kids, even though we feel that the child is showing a lot of cognitive skills, but yet these kids also may show meltdown because they are the cognitive skills developed, they are the trained skills, but unfortunately the child is failed to develop the higher function. That's why this child may show meltdown even though he's showing a lot of intellectual functioning based we can say splinter skills. Next is severe sensory hypersensitivity, auditory hypersensitivity, visual hypersensitivity, vestibular hypersensitivity, tactile hypersensitivity. When the child is become intolerant to particular sensory overload, the child may go into the meltdown. Child may disconnect. The brain will disconnect all the sensory inputs, and the sensory inputs will come, and again the brain will not be able to understand, and this cycle continues, and the child goes into the meltdown. Severe autism, if the child is cognitively very much deficit, intellectually very deficit, and if the child is having a lot of sensory processing issues, then also the child then most of the time the child with autism will show meltdowns, and people may show meltdown who suffers from a sudden loss. Now this is a very generalized statement for everyone. The person is very much good. He's a professional. He's just like you and me, and then a sudden loss which is intolerable, which is not understandable. What we are into this situation, the person may go into the meltdown. The person may will not show the emotional outburst, but will completely go lose the consciousness. Many people, we have seen the people lose the consciousness because of sudden loss. That is also called as a meltdown. So who may show meltdown? These are all the characteristic features in the meltdown. So what is a tantrum? Okay, just let's understand whether my child is showing either tantrum or whether it is meltdown. So difference between tantrum and meltdown is tantrum child have definite reasons behind it. उसको चॉकलेट नहीं दिया इसलिए वो रो रहा है, उसको खेलने के लिए नहीं लेके गया इसके लिए वो रो रहा है, उसको राइटिंग करते वक्त उसको और थोड़ा सा किया इसलिए वो ना करने के लिए वो tantrum दिखा रहे. तो there is a definite reason behind it which is seen, which can be kept in a ABC model of antecedent behavior and consequences model of ABA therapy. But okay, in meltdowns the reasons are not known, they can be variable. Maybe 2 days back the child need was not fulfilled, and the child may show the dissatisfaction today, and the parent will not come to know exactly why my child is showing all of a sudden those tantrums are. So reasons are most of the time not known. But the scientific reasons, we can say there is a sensory overload, or there is a emotional overload, and the brain disconnects from the higher functions. will stop. Tantrums will stop if the need is provided, need is fulfilled. Usko jo chahiye tha usko agar de diya, the child becomes, yes, I won, and I won. See how I won, and this is and I'm prepared. Now I'm prepared for the next tantrum with more tolerance and with more energy, because I understood that if I do this, then I get it. So next time I may cry for half an hour extra if you don't give me. So this is, tantrums are more of condition, but they will stop if the demand is provided. In meltdown, since there is no reason, there is no need sometimes, so you don't know what to provide, and even if it is started from the tantrum level and then the child goes into the meltdown, then also the child may not, and then you try to give him things what he wanted. Now here the child will not get it, and child will not understand also that you are giving him or you're providing his need what he wanted. So nothing satisfies the child most of the time. No self-harming in this child, is completely unaware about surroundings. He may harm self. Child is aware about the environment, but here child is completely unaware about the surroundings, what is happening there, and so he will not be able to develop that control कि मैंने यहाँ पर क्या करना चाहिए और मैंने यहाँ पर क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, ऐसा कुछ भी एहसास उसमें नहीं होगा. It's more of a conscious behavior. It's a learned behavior. This is an unconscious behavior. This is a poor conscious awareness, हम लोग बोल सकते हैं meltdown में. And during tantrums, this is a very important line. Assertiveness does work. During tantrums, if you are strong enough, if you are dominant than child, then you show your dominance, you show your appropriate authority, assertiveness, then definitely the child will feel कि okay, इसके सामने मेरी नहीं चलने वाली है. The child will calm down. But in meltdown, you show more authority. You are again putting a lot of overload of sensory inputs because of your loud sounds and because of your unknown handling to the child. The child will, assertiveness may increase the meltdown, and over here the child may require the nurturing or caring and sympathetic approach when the child is into the meltdown conditions. So I hope you all understood what is tantrum and what is meltdown. These are two different things. Therapeutically, we see them very much differently. This is behavioral, and this is more of a lower brain functioning failure, we can say. And this is the higher brain functioning. This is the higher brain functioning itself, and this is a lower brain functioning failure. Is called as a meltdown. Next is who does tantrum? किसमें tantrums develop होता है? I think there is a grammar mistake or something. Okay, किन बच्चों में tantrum develop हो सकता है? तो यहाँ पर मैंने कुछ conditions रखे हैं. The child who is exposed to one or more of the following, which are they? First is lots of nurturing towards non-deserving demand. बच्चे को वो जरूरत नहीं था वो मिलना, लेकिन उसको हर वक्त वो मांगता है, हम लोग देते जाते हैं. जरूरत है या जरूरत नहीं है, इसको हम लोग असेस नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन उसको चाहिए तो हम लोग अपने एक सिंपैथेटिक अप्रोच करके हम लोग उसको दे देते हैं कि ठीक है, बच्चा है, उसको चाहिए, उसको दे दो, कोई बात नहीं, वो समझ नहीं रहा है, उसको समझता नहीं है, वो नहीं समझ रहा है, लेकिन वो ये समझ रहा है ओके कि मैं जो भी मांगता हूं मुझे मिल जाता है. तो ऐसे बच्चे डेफिनेटली टैंट्रम्स की तरफ आगे बढ़ेंगे ही बढ़ेंगे. When the nurturing towards the non-deserving demands. तो जब वो बच्चे को हम लोग ना बोलने की नौबत आती है, तो वो बच्चा अंडरस्टैंड नहीं करता है कि अरे आपने इतना चीजें रोज रोज देते हैं, तो ये पर्सन मुझे देता ही है, मेरे नीड्स फुलफिल ही करता है anyhow. But now we will not understand कि why is not fulfilling my need, and then child will show aggressive behavior to that person, and that person, maybe a parent, maybe a grandparent, definitely feel much low, or we can say detached from the child by feeling कि मैंने इसको इतना प्यार दिया और फिर से ये मुझे आके इतना ये गलत व्यवहार मुझसे करता है. And then the parent doesn't understand what exactly their stance should be, and then the parent comes to me and then they ask for the tantrums. Next is conflicts between parents while fulfilling the demands. A parent is while fulfilling कि मोबाइल देना है, मोबाइल नहीं देना है. पापा बोलते हैं कि let's create a scenario. Evening 7 o'clock, Father comes home, child is crying. Father was having a bad day at the office. The mother is saying, no mobile, I will not give you any mobile. Okay, don't ask me mobile. The child goes to the father. Father says, I don't know, Baba, I'm already tired. Then the child starts making a lot of noise and a lot of hangama wo karta hai. And then father says, अरे मैं घर पे आने के बाद ये क्या मैं सुन रहा हूँ? And then he says, अच्छा दे दो बाबा उसको मोबाइल, क्या चाहिए? रो रहा है ना, ठीक है, मुझे लेकिन उसका रोना बंद कर दो यार. This is a typical situation when the two parents are having the conflicts, whether to give or not give. The conflicts can be thought-based, the conflicts can be situation-based. This I discussed a situation-based conflict. There can be a thought-based conflict like grandparents most of the time has a conflicts with the parents कि grandparents बोलते कि अच्छा ठीक है मेरा मोबाइल ले ले, अच्छा कोई बात नहीं, पापा ने नहीं दिया ठीक है मेरा ले ले. Then the child feels कि अच्छा मुझे यहाँ से मिलता है, parents नहीं देते हैं. Then the child develops that learning of there's some parent. Okay, the child develops this learning that okay मुझे मिल जाता है और if अगर मैं थोड़ा सा रोता हूँ तो I get it. So this is a condition based learning called if I cry, I get it. So this is the learning. The tantrum is a well-developed learning through the conditioning of day-to-day behaviors or day-to-day interaction with the environment. Next is parents giving up in front of the child's behavior. Child is crying. अरे मुझे नहीं पता मैं, अच्छा ठीक है रो रहा है ना, चल दे दे यार, किधर मैं अपना दिन खराब कर दूं. But child is learning to control over the environment. So जहां पर parent बहुत बार give up करते हैं, बच्चे को वहां पर वो समझ में नहीं आता है कि पेरेंट ने इमोशनली आके वो मुझे चीज दी है, लेकिन बच्चा ये समझ लेता है कि मैं जितना ज्यादा जोर से चिल्लाऊंगा, जितना ज्यादा चीजें फेंकूंगा, उतनी मेरी चीजें जितना ज्यादा आपे से बाहर जाऊंगा उतना ज्यादा मेरे डिमांड्स फुलफिल किए जाते हैं. बिकॉज पेरेंट्स मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम अगर चाइल्ड के नजरिए से देखेंगे तो वो बोलता है कि ये तो इमोशनल फूल्स है, इनको मैं कैसे भी कंट्रोल कर सकता हूँ. ओवर पैम्पर्ड चाइल्ड, बहुत बार मैंने ये भी बोला कि ओवर पैम्पर्ड every time the demands are given, but लेकिन जब वो स्कूल में जाने की टाइम आती है तो बच्चे को थोड़ा सा पुश करना पड़ता है कि जाके बैठना है. बट बचपन से आके उसकी सारे डिमांड्स फुलफिल किए थे, लेकिन अभी जब वो स्कूल में नहीं बैठना चाहता, वो बहुत रो रहा है, तो अभी पेरेंट is not able to understand whether to send him or whether to give attention to his cry. Sometimes they give attention to their cry, sometimes they give attention to their schooling, and then the parent only goes into the completely क्या करना है. And then here the child is developing the child is concentrating on negotiating with the parent कि मुझे जो चाहिए वैसा ही वातावरण अगर मुझे मिलेगा तो ही मैं चुप बैठूंगा, नहीं तो मैं नहीं बैठूंगा. Then the give up happens. Most of the time parents have stopped schooling because of these tantrums in the early stages. We need to understand where we were not right in the early stages of parenting. Then comes the child with vestibular and proprioceptive regulation issues, where the child is not able to regulate his own arousal. So there are certain kids over here who's 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, where they don't have any needs, but they are not able to regulate. So child with the small changes in the environment, the child starts crying. There are many cranky babies. We call it as a cranky babies. Cranky babies happens because of 2 reasons. One is the internal medical issues. The child is not feeling good inside. And second, the brain is not able to feel better because he's not able to create an appropriate alertness and is not able to create appropriate interaction with the environment, and the child becomes cranky. This particular children later on show the sensory processing and sensory modulation issues. So we need to understand. So if you ask me at what child we can understand whether the child may show meltdown or may show tantrums with respect to the self-regulation theory, we can predict that this child become more cranky later on, become more stubborn later on, based on if the child is showing cranky behaviors in the early stages. If the child is not able to control or not able to understand the bodily responses or the vestibular लीनियर मूवमेंट्स देते हो या थोड़ा सा बाहर लेके जाते हो, तो वो मूवमेंट मिलने के बाद ब्रेन रेगुलेट करता है खुद को और बच्चा शांत हो जाता है. दिस इज द ओनली रीजन, दिस इज द बेस्ट रीजन why the child is supposed to be put into that झूला, or why there for the playing purpose why there are so many swings and slides are there in the garden. That is the mechanism of the self-regulation where the brain learns to regulate self. अगर आप में से बहुत सारे लोगों को बहुत ज्यादा गुस्सा आता है, बहुत ज्यादा एक दूसरे के साथ भी टैंट्रम दिखाते हैं या कुछ बहुत जल्दी emotional outbursts होता है, तो I will tell you, go to the garden and sit in the swing and do at least minimum 400 repetitions of the swing, and after 10 to 15 days you will feel that you are nicely settled and you have started becoming more tolerant. So अगर हम लोगों में हो सकता है तो बच्चों में 80% लर्निंग होती है, हम लोगों में सिर्फ 2% लर्निंग होती है, तो children learns to regulate more faster, and that's called as a sensory processing. In last session somebody asked me whether the hanging objects are more important in the sensory integration therapy. So that's the major reason. The self-regulation is the criteria of developing learning in the brain. So child with the vestibular and proprioception regulation issues may lead to the developing tantrums, and definitely sensory hypersensitivity. We saw that video. Many of you could not see that video, but if you see it later, you will understand exactly what sensory hypersensitivity is. In most of the kids, what they are showing tantrums or meltdown. Next is factors responsible for aggravating the tantrums. कौन से factors हैं जो tantrums को aggravate करते हैं, tantrums को आगे लेके जाते हैं? They are the lack of self awareness. जो बच्चों की higher functions develop नहीं हुई है right time पर. यहाँ पर मैं एक चीज बोलना चाहूंगा. Child is nicely writing, he is able to copy from the board. He has started reading also, but somehow the child has not developed adequate higher function development. This child will lead to more tantrums if his higher functions are not developed or his self-awareness are not much developed, because most of the time his abilities are trained than learned. So जो बच्चों में abilities trained है उनमें meltdowns, tantrums आने के chances ज़्यादा होते हैं, rather than those kids who are not doing any studies but they are aware of the environment, they are aware about the self, they are developing appropriate thought process and we can say the reasoning and then emotional development. If they are developing, then these kids will be more better personality, we can say, in the later on stages. Next is in ADHD. The actually lecture's name was Tantrums and Meltdowns in ADHD. So it was something mismatched. अगर ADHD का नाम लूंगा तो मैं सिर्फ यहीं पर लूंगा. If the child is having more impulsivity, बहुत ज़्यादा impulsivity है और impulsivity type of ADHD अगर बच्चा दिखाता है, तो he is not having the control over his impulses, he is not having control over his patience, then the child will show tantrums. And again, the previous factors of the parenting, ये अगर चीजें उसको मिल जाती है with impulsivity, that becomes a very nice environment for the child to develop tantrums in a day-to-day tantrums as a defense mechanism. Next is affected arousal and self-regulation. I explained you a few moments back, and the parenting is a very, very important, which I discussed in the last slide also. That is nurturing or conflicts between parenting, or the parent doesn't know exactly what the child's needs are, over-pampered child, and then the parents, sometimes the parent is only showing tantrum that the child gets modeled from that parent, because he feels कि अगर पापा जोर-जोर से बोलते हैं, बातें करते हैं, तो मम्मी सुनती है उनका, तो बच्चा भी यहाँ पर उनको कॉपी कर लेता है, and then the child starts overpowering mother because he has seen the father is overpowering the mother. So he feels कि अगर मेरी needs अगर fulfill करनी है, तो I will also do that, and then in this phase the child show tantrums in front of a particular person. तो बहुत बार पेरेंट्स आते हैं कि बोलते हैं कि पापा के सामने तो कुछ नहीं करता, लेकिन मैं रहूंगी तो मेरे को वो बहुत ज्यादा in front of me is become very much intolerant. In fact, I provide him all the demands, but still he shows tantrums in front of me. But in front of father, he's absolutely fine. So these are the basic characteristic features which understand exactly what must be the scenario at home and how to go ahead with respect to parenting over here. Next is self-regulation. I discussed it in the last sensory integration lecture. Let's revisit it. Vestibular area regulates our arousal levels. Vestibular area is behind our ears. It's called as a powerhouse generator of the brain, which controls overall our activities. So if If I'm in a good arousal, brain will try to create lots of inputs from the environment and body, and I'll become more alert, I'll become more learning. But if I go more than arousal, I'll go to the high arousal, then too much of inputs will come, and then I become intolerant for those inputs. I may go into the lack of regulation. Or second thing is, if I go to the low arousal level, the brain receives the less signal from the body and environment. Brain goes into more in the lethargic, body goes into lethargic, the child will show more of a lethargic behavior, more of a lazy behavior, and child will become defiant. In this, child will become defiant because he will not be able to get up and will try to follow or try to change his environment all of a sudden. तो कभी parent बोलता है कि अरे ये करेगा क्या? He will rather than getting up and changing his arousal, he will say I don't want to do it. So a few moments back, I got a question from a parent that my child is always saying no. So we need to understand what are the postural responses the child is showing, and what are the self-regulation issues the child is showing, because by saying no, he's trying to create an escape behavior and he's more into the comfort zone. So that's vestibular area with regular inputs coming from the body and environment inputs challenges. Vestibular area creates an appropriate optimum level of arousal. Last time हमने वो graph दिखाया था मैंने आपको. Most of you who attended it will understand this better. So that maximum learning can happen. लेकिन जब ये arousal fluctuate होता है, then learning doesn't happen. But sometimes the brain starts asking unnecessary inputs from the body, and then the body and the environment, and then the child starts showing overcrowding inputs. The vestibular area fails to create optimum arousal, then it loses the connect with the environmental feedback, and that may lead to either tantrum, or if it is very much severely affected, then it will go to meltdown. Sushant, you can stop sharing from everyone because there is some lines are coming. If somebody has done it, kindly stop it. I don't know how to do that. So treatment objectives of tantrums. Tantrums की treatment कैसे करनी है, क्या करना होता है tantrums में? So first of all, assessment of sensory processing and modulation. कहाँ पर बच्चे की sensory processing में issues हैं? कौन से senses उसके problematic हैं? कौन से senses उसके properly information को process करते हैं? और कौन से senses के वक्त brain is not able to lower or higher the intensity of the senses so that it can get a proper awareness from the environment. We need to assess that. Then we need to understand the behavior. What is the antecedent, what is the behavior, and what is the consequence. But over here, I would like to I'd like to add it. It's not about an antecedent. It's about the need of the child, where exactly the need was properly fulfilled, the need was not properly fulfilled, whether the undeserved need was unnecessarily fulfilled, and where the undeserved need was completely ignored by the parents. So this is a behavior assessment. Next is understanding the parenting style and transactions that influence the child's response. जैसे बच्चों में अगर हम लोग there is a lovely theory called transactional analysis just to understand the personalities. तो यहाँ पर बहुत बार एज अ थेरेपिस्ट हमें ये देखना होता है कि पेरेंट्स की पर्सनालिटीज क्या हैं. सो इफ वी से द चाइल्ड, जस्ट टू एक्सप्लेन इन अ वेरी ब्रीफली, हम लोगों में एक बच्चा भी होता है और हम लोगों में एक पेरेंट भी होता है. बच्चे के दो अलग अलग स्टेजेस होते हैं. एक स्टेज होती है ओबीडियंट चाइल्ड, दूसरा स्टेज होता है फ्री चाइल्ड. और पेरेंट की अलग अलग स्टेजेस होती है. एक होता है कंट्रोलिंग पेरेंट, दूसरा होता है नर्चरिंग पेरेंट, और तीसरा होता है रैशनल पेरेंट, और जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं एडल्ट. यू नो, सो ये दोनों में जब इंटरेक्शंस होते हैं तब वो इंटरेक्शन बहुत ही परम्यूटेशन, अलग अलग परम्यूटेशन एंड कॉम्बिनेशंस के आउटकम्स लाते हैं, और वो आउटकम्स हमें मेजर करने होते हैं विद द हेल्प ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शनल एनालिसिस, just to understand how the parent-child bonding is affected, just to understand how to gauge the parent-child bonding where the child is showing the more obedience and parent is showing appropriate authority, and they follow each other very well. So uske liye TA helps us amazingly. So understanding the parenting styles and transactions that influence the child's response is a very very important thing, because behavior kabhi bhi akele mein nahi hota hai. If you are alone in the house, and there is something falls down, और वो ग्लास गिर गया, या आपका कपड़ा अगर आपको नहीं मिल रहा है, या आपकी वो इम्पोर्टेंट फाइल नहीं मिल रही है, और आपका फोन भी बंद है और सामने वाला फोन भी नहीं उठा रहा है, तो आपको आपका बिहेवियर दिखाने के लिए कोई है ही नहीं है, तो आप बिहेवियर नहीं दिखाओगे, आप अपने वो सोल्यूशन में चले जाओगे। सो बिहेवियर की कभी भी दिखाने के लिए या टैंट्रम कभी भी दिखाने के लिए आजू बाजू में कोई तो होना चाहिए जो उसको एक अटेंशन दे और उसके वजह से मैं आई विल सेटिस्फाई माय ओन lack of regulation. Okay, so development of so this is something like sometimes parents unnecessary involvement or over involvement or non-directional involvement in child's fulfilling demands may affect the child into the tantrum. So we need to understand all the parents. Sometimes being a therapist, I call all the family members for the review. Sometimes I cancel the review and I reschedule it so that I can meet the grandparents, I can meet father, I can meet mother, and I can see all of them together, or maybe both father and mother together, so that we can understand their perspective about the child development, and then we can efficiently work on the tantrums. So this is about a TA and parenting influencing. Then development of maximum awareness in the child about self needs and environment. Tantrums में काम करने के लिए हमें चाइल्ड की अवेयरनेस पर बहुत ज्यादा ध्यान देना होता है। आजू बाजू से आने वाले एनवायरनमेंट क्या है, अगर हम लोग शादी में जाने वाले हैं तो वहां पर ये इंसान होंगे, वहां पर ऐसे ऐसे आवाज होंगे, वहां पर सनई होगा, वहां पर बैंड बाजा होगा, तो बैंड बाजे में हम लोगों ने याद है ना तुमने वो किया था। सो वी हैव टू रिविजिट द चाइल्ड्स एक्सपीरियंसेस, और अगर चाइल्ड ने वो एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया है तो the parent has to try to give that experience in a more structured manner so that the child's brain will identify that data in that environment. So it is in a brief way, I will say, create a maximum awareness in the child about self, his own body, and about the environment. That is a very important treatment of developing tantrums or dodging the behaviors which may come later on in the development. We can dodge them by doing it from today. So this is very important aspect. The fourth aspect, everybody note it down. It's very, very important. Next is work on self-regulation. This is something like we practice it with the parents. We ask the parents to practice whenever the child is in a good mood, whenever the child is in these things. At that time, we speak with the child, we appreciate the child. I will call it as emotional deposits. तो आप बहुत ज़्यादा emotional deposits जब देते हो, आप deposit करते हो कि आप appreciate करते हो बच्चे को, तो बच्चा आपके ऊपर dependent हो जाता है और unknowingly you become an authority in all the different environments. So identify the needs in a particular environment. जब हम बोलते हैं तो वो बच्चे की needs को identify करो, उसको fulfill करो, and understand करो कि वो बच्चे की basic needs क्या है, बच्चे को क्या क्या चाहिए होता है, और वो क्या वो needs deserving है, वो needs non deserving है, ये देखो, और फिर उसको आप properly एक set करते हो. When you are predictable, then the child will not show any unstructured behaviors in front of you. But if the parent is not predictable, sometimes he's giving, sometimes he's not giving, then the child will move into a maximum negotiating mode so that the child may move into the chronic behaviors. So identify the needs in a particular environment and fulfill them appropriately. Identifies deserving and non-deserving needs and fulfill them accordingly. I just completed this line in the previous lines only. So these are all the treatment objectives of tantrums that every therapist or every parent must look after. Next is treatment objectives of the meltdown. अगर meltdown है हमारे बच्चों में और the child is showing lots of self-hitting and he's actually वो जब खुद को काटता है तब वो बहुत ही खुद को जख्म कर लेता है, वो खुद को जब मारता है तो he's having a big lots of swelling on his head, and then he he's not able to understand the pain factor and all, because the higher function is completely detached from the lower function. So this is something if we want to regulate it, देन सबसे पहले आइडेंटिफाई द सेंसरी चैलेंजेस। कौन से सेंसरी चैलेंजेस हो सकते हैं बच्चे के लिए अगर मैं किसी एनवायरनमेंट में लेके जा रहा हूँ, या अदरवाइज ऑल्सो मेरे बच्चे को ज्यादा ऑडिटरी ओवरक्राउडिंग पसंद नहीं है, my child doesn't like that cooker sound, my child doesn't like that train sound, my child doesn't like that plane sound, my child doesn't like that traffic sounds। तो ये जो सारी चीजें होती है वो चैलेंजेस को आइडेंटिफाई कीजिए एंड नोट डाउन कीजिए, और जब भी आप अपने बच्चों के साथ जब खेल रहे हो तब इनको धीरे धीरे इंट्रोड्यूस कीजिए, वेयर द प्ले इज मोर कॉन्क्रीट एंड प्ले इज मोर गिविंग हिम प्लेजर, बट by adding those elements he will start getting those bugs and start getting acquainted with those bugs, and child will become tolerant to those particular things. For example, when I was dealing, there are many kids we have dealt with the meltdown. So I'll just give an example. The child was not at all going towards वो traffic के sounds के साथ बहुत ही ज्यादा होता है। Child used to get out of the car and then used to run here and there, and then once or twice he hit by the car, although it was not dangerous, but the parent had to take 2 caretakers with the child और उसको बाजू में बिठाते थे और फिर वो कार से बाहर जाते थे। Very well to do family, but over here the child's behavior was, whenever he used to hear so many car sounds, he used to start biting himself, he used to run here and then. It was a very intolerable condition. So we took that challenge and we said, okay, let's start working on it. So I told parents, till then you don't take him out, only the therapy and in the home will be the environment for him for a few days. In that, we used to call the parent when there was no traffic, when they could bring the child on a very smooth road. कभी-कभी वो सेशंस नाइट 9 o'clock को होते थे, कभी-कभी अर्ली मॉर्निंग 7 o'clock को भी ये सेशंस होते थे, and I used to play with that child, or my therapist was being with me. It's about 7 years back situation, and we used to play with him with the car. The child was liking certain things. उसकी there was I just forgot the car model. It was Audi Q7 or something. That model was, he used to love that model. The same car he had, and that time the child, we asked the parent to get that model, and we started playing with the child. Now Audi is going to the market, now Audi is climbing on the bridge, and child started enjoying it. And now slowly once he started enjoying, we started introducing various sounds into that. The mobile I used to मैंने कुछ डाउनलोड्स करके रखे थे और वहां पर वो साउंड्स हम लोग करते हैं। अभी मार्केट में जा रहे हैं, बाप रे बहुत ज्यादा ट्रैफिक है, पी 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 बाजू हटो or something like that. The child was enjoying my expressions, and indirectly his brain was trying to get those, or trying to tolerate those disturbances which I had put it just 4 or 5 feet away, and then those disturbances were coming. Slowly the child started developing the tolerance towards those sensory overcrowding or too much of noises. And believe me, next 10 to 12 sessions ke andar the parent came to me and he said ki, his restlessness is reduced nowadays. Even though there is no traffic, but his restlessness was there before, but now it is reduced. And after 2 months, it was eureka that the child was sitting beside the parent, and he could go very nicely in a traffic area where he was trying to say there is a signal, red signal. The child was talking, the red, stop, there's a green signal, let's go. So child had enough developed awareness about the environment, where the car sounds were the background, where his conscious effort to understand the environment was more. So we could nicely work on those meltdowns. This is the way of make the child aware about sensory challenges, and involve those sensory challenges in free play behavior, जहाँ पर आपको एक free play पहले establish करना होता है, and then you can introduce those challenges. Then next is work on self-regulation. I'm saying again and again, self-regulation is all related to sensory integration therapy. It's not about sitting activities, it's not about suggestions, it's about lots of movement, lots of body awareness, lots of body schema, lots of reaction of the body with the environmental stimulus, and then giving an appropriate input to the vestibular area, where vestibular sense can starts regulating the its own arousal and bodily inputs in an appropriate way, helping the child to learn better in a given environment. Next is practice self-regulation techniques during good times. This is something like, he loves to go in a garden. Okay, तो जब वो garden में जाते हैं, तब parents को हम लोग बोलते हैं कि okay, now we have to work upon self-regulation technique. Now one of the technique I'm just giving you over here, कि okay, the child is tolerant to the proprioceptive input and he's not able to understand the proprioceptive input. So as a therapist, we work during the sessions, and once the child starts understanding the joint awareness, the body awareness, then we ask the parent to give that compression, give that particular thing, and observe the child is calming down at that particular level. You know, and slowly with the conditional responses, whenever the child is in a good mood, when we ask the parent to excite the child, and by cuddling, by touch, by tactile input, or by certain inputs which help the child to calm down. It can be an auditory input, it can be a bodily awareness, or it can be like a tactile input, it can be a visual input also. It can be sometimes taste and smell also, which we observe the child is having a calming effect, and in that good phase, we work to help him to lower the arousal, bring it to the optimum level, and we practice this again and again. The child goes in excitation, we cuddle him, we give him touch, we give him this thing, we give him deep pressure and all, and then we observe the child is coming down. And now once the child has developed that, the parent has developed that control over the child's arousal, so parent can control the child's arousal by giving those sensory inputs. Then we ask the parents to put him into the challenging situations, and then during the meltdown, if the child is actually, we ask the parent to understand the antecedent when he can go to the meltdown. Just before that, you start, or just that period, you start giving him that sensory input, and observe the child is calming down. Out of 10 times, we get 3 to 4 times we get a very good result, and slowly we help the parent with the various techniques. We help the parent how to regulate that particular thing in the challenging situations also. And many children, I mean most of the children, have reduced the meltdowns in 3 to 4 months itself. So that is practicing self-regulation techniques during good times, and then using that whole model in the challenging situations. And last is empathetic parenting approach. Empathetic parenting approach, every child, every person in this world will only follow that person who's steady, who's strong, and who never changes his attitude, who never changes his principles, even though the time changes. You know? So those people are always admired or always respected. You know, same thing happens with the child. Child always watches who is more controlled, okay, who is continuous and spontaneous in their approach with me. You know, even if father hits me, but he continuously hits me, okay, then the child will give respect to the father because he gets a continuous input from that particular person. But sometimes, I'm just giving you an example, so mothers and fathers, please don't feel good and bad about self. But sometimes mommy is very good with me because when I write, she's very good with me. But when I throw the water, when I'm playing with the water, she hits me. Or there's a variable approach is coming from mommy. Then the child will become intolerant with mother because she is not consistent in her approach. I repeat. So this is something which is very important, to be consistent in front of the child. रात को भी आप वैसे हो, दिन में भी वैसे हो, दोपहर में वैसे हो, अच्छे मूड में भी वैसे हो, बुरे मूड में भी वैसे होते हो, तो वो बच्चा आपको ज्यादा रिस्पेक्ट करेगा. So it's very important. In fact, when we do the therapies, when we start with the therapies, and CRC is a multi-model, multidisciplinary approach in a holistic way when we give. So one therapist when we start with the child, suppose therapist A starts with the child, and then therapist A is asked to be controlling only. The therapist will be controlling, he will be assertive, you know, you are not going to go there, you are going to sit here, okay, you are supposed to complete it, and then you are going to your home, okay. Now the therapist is controlling, we will not ask the therapist to become nurturing over there because the child will not understand. What we will do, we will introduce a nurturing therapist as another person B in front of the child, then the child is allowed to operate from his inner drive, and then the third person may be a rational, the fourth person will be more authoritative to this all three people. So this becomes a society in front of the child, because not all the people are going to be controlling, not all the people are going to be nurturing, not all the people are going to understanding about your child or rational about your child, you know. So we need to create that multimodal personalities in front of the child, and we let the child operate through their approach. So this is the way that how we develop the child's tolerance, or we make the child ready to for this crooked society outside. You know, many people says, you know, this Dr. A was very nice, but why you change the Dr. A from B because she was doing good or he was doing good? Then my answer is, Dr. A kind of personality is not going to be there always in the society. The society is going to have various different approaches. So you need to change those personalities. But in front of the parent, in terms of parent, there are only two people. So to begin with, we ask the parent to be regular, be spontaneous in their approach, then the child is understanding them, and then with the child's needs, we ask them to change their personalities with respect to the scientific way, with respect to the behavior, we can say the transaction analysis, and that's how the child and parent becomes a good bonding. And this particular thing we have worked wonderfully in this lockdown period, because over here the therapist is not working, the parent is working, and therapist is empowering the parent with what kind of a personality you have to propose in front of the child. So this is called the empathetic parenting approach. We can say over here a parent is trained to deal with the child in different environments in an appropriate way. Wherever there is assertiveness is required, assertiveness. Whenever there is a nurturing is required, nurturing. And whenever there is completely ignorant is required, you have to be ignorant. So these are the treatment objectives of meltdown. What are the takeaways from today's lectures? Are behaviors or tantrums are not the innate characteristics of any disorder, or they are present in the child since birth. Behaviors और ये जो tantrums होते हैं, ये जो meltdowns होते हैं, ये कभी भी birth से नहीं होते हैं. You know, they are not a part of any disorder. Rather they are acquired. ये acquired चीजें होती हैं. ये environment के interaction के साथ develop होती है during inappropriate transactions with the environment. Inappropriate transactions होते हैं तो bad behaviors होते हैं या tantrums develop होते हैं. Whereas meltdowns are not behaviors, but it is a poor inner self-regulation and lack of development of higher functions. Because of that, meltdown does happens, and they become chronic if they are not controlled in the early stages. But believe me, meltdowns. I've seen a 22-year-old child with autism also came with a meltdown, and we say let's see if you be consistent, then definitely we will try down, and we could control the meltdown of that 22-year-old child autism also, provided with that holistic way we started working on the child. So yes, it's not about the age, but believe me, the consistent approach with and understanding and regular assessment of your approach will definitely lead to any miracle and any kind of developmental outcome, we can say. While working on them, whether be it tantrum or meltdown, one should not try to improve the child. हमें बच्चे को improve नहीं करना होता है, लेकिन हमें बच्चे के needs को समझना होता है, और वो बच्चे के needs को समझते वक्त most of the time it's called the behavior modification techniques, और ये जो बोला जाता है कि बच्चा क्राई कर रहा है तो वो गलत है, बच्चा मार रहा है तो वो गलत है, बच्चा भाग रहा है तो वो गलत है, बच्चा स्पिट कर रहा है तो वो गलत है, बच्चा पुश करता है, बच्चा बाल खींचता है तो वो गलत है. But we need to understand the needs behind it, you know, because the behaviors are not the actual disorder. The behaviors is the face of that inner problem. You need to understand the inner problem. If you work on the inner problem, the behavior will get vanished forever. But if you keep working on the behavior, then the behavior will keep changing from one behavior to another behavior and another behavior to third behavior, and then the parent, you know, important developmental aspect of the child वो behavior के modification पे चला जाता है. बहुत ज़्यादा parent की energy, money and the time, ये जो तीन चीजें important हैं, ये उसके behavior management में चली जाती है. तो development करने के लिए हमारे पास ज़्यादा time नहीं रहता है. then the important developmental stages goes out. So this lecture is very, very, very important to understand the behaviors is not the actual disorder. The behavior is a phase of the underlying problem. If we identify the underlying problem, work on it, the phase automatically changes. You know, so rather than working and improving the child, one need to understand the child's needs. Also, we need to introspect what kind of a personality, what kind of an approach I am exposing to the child, or me and my wife, or me and my parents, and me as a whole family, how we are exposing to the child, and what expectations we are putting on a child. And if those expectations are not matched with the child's ability, then definitely this particular things becomes a regular practice in the child's day-to-day. So that's it from my side today. Thanks a lot. See you again in the resolving more mysteries of children's developmental behavior and learning issues. If there are any questions, I think Anagha and Harshali madam, both of you can discuss them rationally.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There is a common query regarding mobile habit. मोबाइल एक बार दे देते हैं तो फिर वो वापस नहीं देता है and tantrums throw करता है. It's a common query.
Yeah, it's a very common query, right? And every family has that query, including mine also. But believe me, first of all, let's go into the basics. You know, basics. Who gave mobile? क्या वो बचपन से लेकर आया था क्या मोबाइल उसके हाथ में? We gave mobile. Second thing, why we gave mobile? Because we thought it is a toy and child can get nice music and nice things. But is a mobile is a toy? क्या मोबाइल एक टॉय है क्या? बिल्कुल भी नहीं. मोबाइल इज अ वेरी ऑफिशियल कम्युनिकेशन डिवाइस. इट इज अ ऑफिशियल कम्युनिकेशन डिवाइस यूज्ड फॉर अ कम्युनिकेशन ओनली. बट हम लोग कम्युनिकेशन का इस्तेमाल कम करते हैं. हम लोग उसको एज अ टॉय करके बच्चे के हाथ में ज्यादा देते हैं. तो पहली गलती हमने की कि हमने बच्चे के हाथ में मोबाइल दिया. दूसरी गलती ये है कि हम लोगों ने इनवेरिएबली उसके हाथ में मोबाइल दिया या उसके हाथ से मोबाइल निकाला, और तभी बच्चे का और हमारे साथ फ्रिक्शन हो गया और बच्चे ने डोमिनेंट बिहेवियर दिखाया, और फिर हम लोग उसके सामने रेसेसिव हो गए, और फिर उसको आदत लग गई कि मैं रोता हूं तो मुझे मोबाइल मिल जाता है. या शायद बचपन में जब वो 8 महीने का था, 10 महीने का था, जब वो रोता था तब उसको मोबाइल हम लोग देते थे, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने मिस इंटरप्रेट किया था कि वो मोबाइल एक टॉय है. Yes or no? Please put it into the chat box if you understood what I'm trying to say. So first of all, we have to go to the basics that mobile is not a toy, it is an official communication device. So beta, if you want to communicate with your papa, if you want to communicate with your mama, if you want to communicate with your friend, you can put it on your ear and you can talk with them. Now there is a lot of facilities with the video calls and everything, but use it only for the communication and not as a sensory device. Many people are using it as a sensory device. Believe me, it's not a sensory device. You know, okay. So first of all, if you understand the basics, then you will understand whether to provide him or not to provide him. Now, how to deal with the tantrums? Tantrums के पीछे सबसे बड़ी बात होती है कि ओके, मेरे हाथ में मोबाइल है और वो बच्चा मोबाइल मांगता है, बोलता है नो मोबाइल, नॉट टचिंग मोबाइल. आई टोल्ड यू, डॉक्टर सुमित टोल्ड मी नो मोबाइल, लेकिन मैं यहाँ पर कैंडी क्रश खेल रहा हूँ. यू नो, that is not required. If you are playing in front of him, then child will definitely follow your passion. So those people who are seeing the child is developing that chronic dependency on the mobile, I will tell them, rather than spending so many things on 20 or 40 sessions, first of all, you get a 800 rupees वाला वो नोकिया का आ जाता है ना, पहला वाला, पुराना वाला, ऐसे आ जाते हैं. ऐसे 4-5 डिवाइस हर एक को दे के रखो, और everybody will talk on that only for next 1.5 months. Just do that. And if the child wants it, give him, because now there is nothing is there inside it. Okay. So यहाँ पर, if you are ready for doing that, then you are ready to work on child's tantrums. लेकिन अगर आप बोलेंगे कि नहीं, मैं तो मोबाइल, मेरे पास तो मोबाइल है, लेकिन उसने नहीं करना चाहिए, उसको समझ में आना चाहिए, then that's a wrong way of dealing with it, because your child, you are already developed that equity and equality with your child, and now you cannot tell him that you are different and you are small and you are doing this. In a simpler way, I'll just give you a very simple example. You know, every parent, please, I'm asking you one question. अगर आपके मन ने ठान लिया ना कि उसको नहीं देना है तो आप ऑटोमेटिकली कर सकते हैं, बट एवरी पेरेंट इज कन्विंस्ड फ्रॉम इनसाइड देयर माइंड कि मेरे को बचपन में नहीं मिला था तो मैं अपने बच्चे को देगा तो क्या होगा, उसको यूट्यूब में से बहुत ज्यादा डिस्कवरी मिलता है तो उसमें से तो उसको थोड़ा सा नॉलेज भी बढ़ता है तो देने से क्या होगा. तो यू आर ओनली कन्विंस्ड फ्रॉम इनसाइड दैट व्हाई आई शुड गिव हिम द मोबाइल. First of all, convince yourself that this is not a information thing. It is information thing है official information के लिए, लेकिन वो बच्चा जो 3 साल में ऑपरेट कर रहा है, 2 साल में ऑपरेट कर रहा है, 1 साल में ऑपरेट कर रहा है, उसके लिए वो मोबाइल इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है. उसके लिए वो एक एक्चुअली is a sensory device which is just giving him a lot of input and he's getting happy with it, but he's not learning anything through that. अगर आपके मन ने ठान लिया कि नहीं देना है तो there are many parents who comes to me before the consultation, they say कि okay हमने मोबाइल बंद कर दिया and he started showing a better development. Okay, very simple thing I'll tell you कि अगर आपके पास एक क्या 1 किलो सोने का एक ईंट है, you know what, 1 kg golden brick if you have, will you, and the price of it maybe lakhs and lakhs, and maybe I don't know, I never thought about it, you know, but you know, is it more valuable than your child's behavior and your child's personality development and your child's development? Is it more valuable than that? Please put it into the chat box. Is that 1 kg brick is more valuable than your child's development and your stress and your problems and your sufferings? Is it more? Yeah. तो अगर वो चीज को वो अगर ज्यादा वैल्यूएबल नहीं है, फिर भी अगर हम लोग वो किसी के भी अगर आपके पास है तो क्या आप वो इसके लिए डिस्प्ले में रखेंगे आप किसी के भी सामने आपके घर में, या आप उसको छुपा के रखेंगे? Will you keep it on display? Yes or no? Will you keep 1 lakh rupees on the table where the relatives are coming? Even if your brother and sister is coming, you will not keep that 1 lakh rupees on the table. Yes or no? So we feel so this particular thing are not more important than your child's development. Then why you are keeping that mobile which is you know that it is going to affect my child's development? Why you are keeping it on a display? अगर आपके मन ने ठान लिया, there are many women over there, उनके मन ने ठान लिया कि पैसा बचाना कैसा है या पैसा किधर छुपाना है, तो they can do that. I mean, amazingly do that. हस्बैंड को पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि वो किधर है. तो you have that ability, लेकिन आप ही अंदर से convinced हो कि उसको you know थोड़ा सा देंगे तो थोड़ा देंगे, आधा घंटा 15 मिनट देंगे तो क्या जाता है. So it's all that it's you don't have to ask to Dr. Sumit, you have to ask yourself, am I going to I have to stop convincing that this mobile is an official communication device and it is definitely harming my child's development, and nothing more valuable more than my child's development, not money, not that these things. And the small valuable things अगर हम लोग लॉकर में रखते हैं तो वो मोबाइल क्यों नहीं? ये डिपेंड करता है आपको. I will tell you, my elder son, I have given him Note 8. My younger child, I gave her the tab, my tab जो मेरा official tab था मैंने उसको दे दिया है. I told them बेटा ये आपका है, अभी आपको मेरे मोबाइल पर किसी के ये करना नहीं है. But I have set many rules for that, so that's okay. But if the child is not understanding where to stop and where to do these things, so better not to give that. Television is not bad, mobile is not bad, but you should know how to use them in a more constructive way. And if we don't know how to use them, then the child will take advantage of using it the way they want. Yes, so it's very important that it's you have to convince yourself to your nurturing parenting inside. अगर आप कन्विंस कर लेते हो तो अरे मोबाइल क्या, वो मोबाइल का सिम कार्ड या मोबाइल का शॉप भी आप कभी वो बच्चे को नहीं देते. Ask those parents who are following gluten and casein free diet. वो मैदा क्या, वो ग्रेन क्या, वो बिस्किट का दाना भी वो बच्चे के सामने नहीं लेकर आते. तो you take some inputs from those who are following that thing. Anyways, next question please. Sorry.
Yes, it is regarding throwing toys. Is it a tantrum? And
Yes.
even if he is enjoying that throwing and laughing, then what to do?
See, the child is throwing the object is a clear sign of two things. One is either you have given too many toys to him and usko uski koi qadar nahi hai. Dusra, okay, the child has that proprioceptive seeking behavior where he's seeking extra amount of pressure on his joints. So by throwing, he enjoys the things. So what you have to do, first of all, if you are providing too many toys, then don't provide them. And second is try to create a play with your child where his hand functions, or we can say his need for that joint pressure will be satisfied either by throwing in an appropriate way. So I will tell him, okay beta wo car mujhe de do, ye ball hai, ye ball ko hum log जोर से मारेंगे और वो glass गिर गया, and then hooray. If you do that, then you have to substitute that particular thing to the targeting play, and then believe me, in few days your child will start enjoying with you. But at the same time, if he's throwing, most of the time parents' own words and their own language and their own way of referring the child's behaviors to others, maybe on the phone, maybe to the therapist, maybe to their relatives and maybe the neighbors, they do the propaganda of the child's behavior, or they do the marketing of their child's behavior, where child doesn't understand whether it is right or wrong, but he feels that this particular behavior is given lots of इसको बहुत ज्यादा TRP मिलता है, you know. तो अगर ये चीज को TRP मिलता है तो मैंने यही चीज करना चाहिए, because he doesn't know what is right or what is wrong. So stop referring those behaviors in front of him to others. शाम को पापा आते तो उसके बारे में क्या अच्छा किया वो बताइए, rather than आज उसने 2 प्लेटें तोड़ी, 1 ग्लास फोड़ा और देखो मेरे को इधर सर के पे मारा, वो बोलना चाहिए अच्छा आज उसने अच्छा क्या किया वो बताइए. That is more going to be constructive. In this way, one more thing I will tell you, rather than what not to do, you tell your child what is supposed to be done. Hey, no throwing, don't throw that car, don't jump on that couch. Rather than telling what not to do, you tell him, beta, acha, aa jao idhar niche aa jao, chalo hum log khelenge, goda khelenge. Now, I stopped him without telling him what you are not supposed to do. It's very important that always tell the child concretely what is supposed to be done rather than what is not supposed to be done. Beta, don't go out of this border. Rather than tell him, beta, hum log border ke andar hi karenge. Believe me, that the child will understand more better, and you will have to spend less energy for that. So if your child is throwing the things, tell him what not to do, tell him what to do rather than what not to do. Don't provide his unnecessary demands. Okay, create a substitution for the throwing. And then develop it as a play. Don't give him, chalo abhi ye tum throw karo, main apna TV dekhta hu. No, you also get involved in that throwing and try to create the rules and regulations in that throw, and you will believe that your child has become more understanding what to throw and what not to throw. Next is get the toys which requires lots of body movements and all. You know, so that's something which we can do it on throwing. Again, throwing is not a tantrum, but it may happen during tantrum. So all those people whose kids are throwing things, just follow these guidelines and your child will be fine within 15 to 20 days, believe me. Even if it is a 5 years chronic behavior. Thank you. Next question.
Yes, getting emotional or emotionally drained is a sign of meltdown.
Emotionally drained means what? Emotionally drained means what? He's crying, you know, for no reason. We can call this a meltdown. But if he stops his crying the moment he gets his need, then that's not a meltdown, that's a tantrum. Sometimes tantrums and tantrums may come if the child is not able to convey his demands कि मुझे वो डब्बे के ऊपर रखा हुआ वो जो वाला बिस्कुट का वो जो वाला बिस्कुट के बाजू में रखा हुआ वो जो छोटा सा टॉय ना वो चाहिए, लेकिन हमें वो दिखता ही नहीं है, हम लोग पता नहीं होता. Then the child is not able to convey his demands, and then the parent doesn't understand it, behavior may come, tantrum may come. But for that, you need a good bonding with the child. You need to understand what are my child's needs, and also just follow the behaviors and the needs of every person's needs, what they are, rather than working on the child's behavior as a symptom. This question I would like to take it. My son falls down straight on the floor when he's irritated of something, and he actually hurts his knees, and he comes to me and tells me that he has hurt his knees. What can I do about this? Is this called as a tantrum? No, this is something overtly he's seeking a lots of input from his joints. Okay. Over here, he will require a proper assessment, but somewhere I'm feeling that his neck muscles are not well developed. At the same time, his postural muscles are weak, which is not sending adequate information to the brain. Two different informations are going. One is a body position sense, and second is the awareness of the muscle. Okay, and if the awareness is at a very lower level, then he will try to hurt his muscle to get adequate awareness. You know, have you seen the child is actually taps the things, and ये पूरे उसके knuckles के ऊपर बहुत ज़्यादा एक swelling जैसा हो जाता है. You know, the skin gets swelled over there, and still the child starts tapping it over there. You know, when I did it again and again on myself in my early stages of career, then I understood that for 3 to 4 days I was getting the sensation again and again from that particular thing, while moving my hand, while doing some things, and there I understood what the child was exactly asking for. So if your child is actually falling on his head, either his head awareness or the head related muscles and the joint or intracranial pressure is something an issue, I think it's a lot of variable things will come out of this. He will require proper assessment, but definitely I've seen this kind of a child. He can stop this if he's having intellectual things. So and so अगर भी होगा तो भी एक महीने में या 1.5 महीने में उसके stop करना चाहिए.
सर ये क्वेश्चन मैंने पूछा था.
एक्चुअली वो गिरता है, मतलब बहुत जोर से नहीं गिरता है, थोड़ा हल्के से गिरता है, फिर आके बोलता है कि उसको चोट लगने पर बूबू बोलता है, बूबू बूबू बोलता है. मैं एक हल्का सा टच करूंगी, फिर वो बोलता है कि हाँ मेरा बूबू ठीक हो गया, फिर वापस जाके खेलता है.
Yes.
ऐसा करता है.
तो ये कॉम्बिनेशन है उसका सेंसरी सीकिंग बिहेवियर का और उसका सेंसरी सोशल इंटरेक्शन करने का तरीका है उसका, और आपका अटेंशन सीक करने का वो तरीका है. उसके पीछे कोई भी ऐसे डिससैटिस्फैक्शन नहीं है. So you just work on his joint awareness, talk to your therapist to work on his proprioceptive input, and he'll be fine within few days itself. Thank you.
What input, sir?
Proprioceptive input.
So why my child is putting hands on its ears from past 5 to 7 days? I am not able to understand that.
For that, you can watch one of the video.
Can you provide a link, please? Because from past 5 to 7 days.
Mr. Sushant will provide the auditory hypersensitivity video. बच्चा कान पे हाथ रखता है, उसके पीछे के reasons अगर आपको समझ में आएंगे तो definitely will be work on your child. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, sir. Please link करवा दीजिए. Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes.
Sir, we have lots of individualized questions, I think.
Which is, I think, if you find as a therapeutically, I mean, you being as a therapist, if you have any query, you can ask, or you can generate a rational
yes,
query,
sir.
we can discuss over here.
Yes. I have asked from my end. If Harshali ma'am wants to add something.
Yes.
A child starts self-talk to regulate himself in case of any online classes or talking to someone to one-to-one. If I stop, he starts crying. What is it exactly?
Pardon me the whole question because I could not hear the first few lines.
My child starts self-talk to regulate himself in case of any online classes or talk.
Yes, उसके लिए हम लोग एक अलग से सेशन भी रख सकते हैं. और this I have already spoken to in terms of auditory hypersensitivity videos. You can go through that. Why the child is self-talking. आप अगर उसके सेल्फ टॉक को रोकने की कोशिश करेंगे तो that is wrong thing. He is doing self talk as a self regulation mechanism. So not to stop it, rather than you can convert that talk into a meaningful talk by helping the child by showing interest in his play and working on his auditory processing dysfunction and auditory जो भी उसका मॉड्यूलेशन डिस्फंक्शन है उसके ऊपर काम करके आप उसके सेल्फ टॉक को कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं. लेकिन डोंट ट्राई टू स्टॉप दैट सेल्फ टॉक बिकॉज दैट इज अ सेल्फ रेगुलेशन. इफ यू स्टॉप इट ही विल स्टॉप स्पीकिंग आल्सो.
How can we talk to a child when he is showing a tantrum?
How to talk to the child when he's showing a tantrum?
Yeah.
That's a very nice question. That's a very apt question. How to talk to the child? You talk with your mind, body, soul, and heart. Okay, not where your intentions are matching with your expressions. कि अगर तूने ये किया तो मैं A करूंगा नहीं तो B करूंगा और वो होगा जरूर. मैंने थोड़ी देर पहले एक बोला था कि बच्चा उसी को रिस्पेक्ट करता है जो वो पेरेंट जो अपने प्रिंसिपल्स को वैसे रखता है, अपने वर्ड्स को वैसे रखता है, तो वो जो बोलता है वो करता है. अगर ऐसा पेरेंट अगर आप खुद में डेवलप करते हो तो आपका बच्चा उधर ही सुनेगा कि बाप रे अभी कुछ नहीं होगा, मेरी ये रहने दो बाजू में, लेकिन मुझे और कुछ तो गलत मिल सकता है. तो इट्स समथिंग लाइक you keep certain rules. Let the tantrum happen. You be very calm at that time. If your child is more intellectually sound, his understanding, his higher functions are developed, then you can take him out and tell him, next time you do it now. I saw what you did. Next time if this happens, no, then either A will happen or B will happen. तो ये A और B जो दो चीजें हैं आपको बहुत ही एक्सप्रेसिवली कहनी है और वही चीजें कहनी है जो आप कर सकते हो और वही करो और वो चीज डेफिनेटली करो जो आपने ऑलरेडी बोला था. देख बेटा, अगर तूने ऐसा बाद में किया तो मैं तेरे को हाथ के ऊपर चटका दूंगी, तेरे को घर से बाहर निकालूंगी, तेरे को उल्टा लटका के नीचे से मिर्ची की धुरी लगाऊंगी. अगर आपने बोला है तो करो और अगर कर सकते हैं तो बोलो. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम द चिल्ड्रन हु आर शोइंग टैंट्रम्स, वो उनके लिए उनके पेरेंट्स है ना, वो जंगल के शेर नहीं होते, वो पिंजरे के अंदर वाले शेर होते हैं. उनको पता होता है ये गुर्राएगा लेकिन कुछ करेगा नहीं. तो ऐसे पेरेंट्स के सामने बच्चे डेफिनेटली टैंट्रम्स दिखाएंगे. Yes, so it's very important that whatever you say, you do it, and whatever you can do, only say those things. Don't show too many things. Don't say too many things which you can't do. तो बेटा, अगर आज मैंने देखा कि तूने हेड बैंग किया, अगर नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर ऐसे किया तूने, तो मैं तुम्हें मैं तुमसे 2 घंटा नहीं बात करूंगी या मैं तुम्हारे टॉयज को रख दूंगी या उस दिन हम लोग गार्डन नहीं जाएंगे. हो सकता है, इट कैन बी एक्सटिंक्शन, इट कैन बी एनीथिंग. यहाँ पर मुझे बिहेवियर मॉडिफिकेशन टेक्निक्स के बारे में नहीं बोलना है बिकॉज आई डोंट बिलीव इन बिहेवियर मॉडिफिकेशन टेक्निक्स. आई बिलीव इन the problems which are underlying behind the behaviors. Okay, so if you make the child understand ki what you are saying is you are going to do it, whether it is his birthday, it is your birthday, it is your marriage anniversary, लेकिन still आपने बोला है कि अगर तूने वापस किया तो मैं तुम्हें वो चीज नहीं दूंगी, पिज्जा नहीं दूंगी, तो उसके बर्थडे पर भी आपने पिज्जा उसको नहीं देना है. That firm you are supposed to be. Then only your child will start giving you respect and your child will start following you.
Excuse me, sir.
Again on emotional.
Yes, Harshali madam.
Yes, sir. Can I
again
ask?
Emotions
just
like my son is very emotional. He cries. TV is not working. Shirt got torn. Glass gets broken. Friends and family departs, crying hours together. I mean, small things and crying all over the time. So
then.
No, so excuse me, this is mother. Actually, this is my question. I have 8-year-old son and he's very, very sensitive and emotional. But sometimes it's very difficult to manage his emotions when he cries for no reason. Imagine if suddenly like we go somewhere and we are coming back, we hardly meet with somebody for 5-10 minutes and he got a kind of bond and he doesn't want to come back, he's crying. If maid is not coming, he's crying. If suppose उससे कोई mistake से उसका pencil टूट गया, so he's crying badly, जैसे कोई बड़ा sin हो गया है. So I understood that it's difficult for him to manage his own emotions.
Okay.
So what I do, I just acknowledge him.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you stop telling his crying as an emotion. Children cry is not an emotion. Everybody just listen to this. If your child is crying, okay, it's not emotion. Children cry for 2 reasons. One, there's an inner पेट में दुख रहा है, दांत दुख रहा है, he's not feeling well, he's crying. That's the one reason. Second reason, he wants something and he's not able to convey, and he wants to convey it best way by crying. So that's a way of communication. So children cry for 2 reasons. One is there is some pain inside, or second, he wants to communicate. So behind cry, there is no emotion. Let me tell you, the people who cry and say their truth, oh, that's the truth, they are just trying to seek their attention. I believe in that. So if a child comes to you in a crying, understand what exactly he wants to communicate, rather than you give attention to his emotions. They are not emotions. So you are emotionally connected to his communication. Definitely, you are emotional fool over there. So if somebody is crying, only a person who's a steady practical approach can control that crying person, whether it is anybody in the world. But if you take it emotionally, then emotional approach to the crying child or crying person will always aggravate that crying. Yes or no? Please put it into the chat box.
So, but it's difficult to manage him in the sense
Because
like
you are not using the right approach. For his communication, you are taking it as an emotion. Okay, you are taking it as an emotion. So it's a communication. So you try to communicate with him. Communication can be two ways. If you do this, this will happen. If you cry, I'm sorry, I'm not able to get it. Okay, so somewhere and second thing, he always getting. I'm taking this as the last question today. He's always getting attention to his cry, because please go through all those things why the tantrum gets aggravated, because he's getting pampered, because his cry is getting attention for the cry and everything. So for that, definitely you have to work on all those prerequisites of it. And again, we may have to identify the concrete operational stages of your child's 8-year-old child's psychosocial development. That if it is an emotion, if it is too much sensitive, we need to understand the concrete operational stages of the psychosocial development, and then I will be able to give you a very appropriate answer over here. So it's a very rational thing. What I say to all the parents is, cry is not an emotion. Cry is.
उसने रियांश ने गिरा दिया पूरा उधर.
देखिए, cry अगर होता है, कोई भी इमोशन में क्राइंग नाम का कोई इमोशन ही नहीं है. सैडनेस है, एग्रेशन है, एंग्री एटीट्यूड है, हैप्पीनेस है, जेलसी है, लेकिन क्राई नाम का कोई इमोशन ही नहीं है. सो क्राई इज अ कम्युनिकेशन. ओके
सर प्लीज टेक माय क्वेश्चन.
थैंक यू, थैंक्स अ लॉट. दिस इज, अगर मैंने आपको बहुत ज्यादा टाइम दिया तो शायद दूसरे लोग मुझे ये करेंगे. सो आई एम एक्सट्रीमली सॉरी. यू
एक्चुअली आई ट्राइड फ्रॉम लास्ट 3 to 4 times.
Next question to you, please. Yes.
Sir, actually my son is 10 years old and he hits only actually वो अपनी यंगर सिस्टर को ही मारता है बहुत ज्यादा, और किसी छोटे बड़े किसी को हाथ नहीं लगाता ईटिंग के लिए. और सर वो बहुत तरह की साउंड्स माउथ से निकालता है, और कई सारी साउंड्स पर वो कान बंद करके भाग जाता है. मतलब काफी इस तरह का इशू है उसके साथ.
तो अगर वो अपने छोटी सिस्टर को ही मारता है तो यहाँ पर एक चीज मैं बोलूंगा, और आई विल स्टॉप दिस सेशन बिकॉज आई एम गेटिंग लेट फॉर माय नेक्स्ट सेशन. देखिए, अगर हमें 2 बच्चे होते हैं तो पेरेंट के पास 2 इमोशंस होते हैं 2 बच्चों को देने के लिए. ओके, एक होता है केयर और दूसरा होता है लव. एक होता है प्यार और दूसरी होती है क्या बोलते हैं हिंदी में, आई डोंट नो, मराठी में उसको काळजी कहते हैं. प्रेम.
Jealousy?
Is it? No. Sorry. Care and love. मैं तुम्हारा ख्याल रखना और मैं तुम्हें प्यार करना. ये 2 चीजें पेरेंट के पास 2 चीजें होती हैं 2 बच्चों को देने के लिए. आप मुझे बताइए कि अगर आपका बड़ा वाला है बच्चा, ओके, अगर आपकी छोटी बेटी अगर 10 महीने की थी, 1 साल की थी, तभी आपने उसको प्यार देना चाहिए या उसका ख्याल रखना चाहिए या उसको केयर करना चाहिए?
दोनों का सर केयर करना चाहिए, दोनों को प्यार करना चाहिए.
अच्छा, दोनों को प्यार करेंगे, दोनों को केयर करेंगे तो दोनों भी एक लेवल पर बनेंगे, और जो डोमिनेंट होगा ना वो जंगल का कानून के अनुसार दूसरे को हर वक्त मारेगा. ओके, सो आई ऑलवेज से दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट दैट जो बड़ा बच्चा होता है उसको प्यार समझ में आता है, और जो छोटा बच्चा होता है उसकी जरूरत होती है ख्याल रखना. Who is this?
सर एक्चुअली जो मेरी यंगर डॉटर है वो काफी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है.
Let me complete it because I don't want to take your very individual query because without assessment I don't speak treatment. बड़े बच्चे की जरूरत होती है प्यार, क्योंकि उसको समझ में आता है प्यार, क्योंकि उसको एक्सप्रेशन समझ में आते हैं। और छोटे बच्चे की प्यार समझ में नहीं आता है, वो अभी तक डेवलप ही नहीं हुआ है, उसका हायर फंक्शन डेवलप, तो उसका सिर्फ ख्याल रखना होता है। लेकिन अगर बड़े बच्चे के सामने उसकी जो जरूरत है वो छोटे बच्चों को देंगे, वो प्यार आप छोटे वाले को देंगे और बड़े बच्चे का ख्याल रखेंगे, then what will happen? Then the problem will happen that the bigger child will become jealous on the smaller child and smaller child will become jealous on the bigger child. So ये चीज अगर हो रही है तो please check कीजिए and you can start working on it now onwards. But if it is happening, then we need to understand overall family dynamics, overall environmental and internal issues of your child, and then only I can comment on this particular thing, because this is somewhere the another people are also involved in that. So thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank
please,
you.
last question can I ask,
Thank
sir?
you, sir.
I'm
Thank
sorry, I have
you.
to leave because I had
Yes.
gotten a session, that's why I'm getting a call. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
thank you. We'll stop here, and you can call them on the helpline number. They have given the helpline number. Please, parent, please cooperate. He has to go for another
please
session.
input word
Thank you
again.
very much. Thank you,
I'm sorry
sir.
for this thing. Thanks a lot, and see you in the next session on Friday.
word एक और बार बता दीजिए
And then we will discuss more development, behavior and learning issues. If I'm able to give you at least the understanding about them, then also you can create a right questions to your problems, and definitely you can get a more better things. Thanks a lot for giving opportunity. Sneak is doing an amazing job creating awareness by developing an appropriate by bringing you on a platform and helping us to give you awareness about issues. So thanks a lot. All the best, Nick. See you in the next lecture. Thanks a lot.